Great job by Sean McDermott. Great job by Josh Allen. Great job by the Bills defense. Great job by Buffalo winning the game. And now the Bills, a half game behind Kansas City for the number one seed, for the top record in the AFC, and home field advantage in the AFC playoffs. Also, they are not beating the Chiefs in January. And I know that this take is going to piss a lot of people off, and I don't care. I know there are a lot of Bills fans that are going to be furious with me saying this, that the Bills will not beat the Chiefs in January. I know they beat them yesterday. Congratulations, right? The Bills have beaten the Chiefs 4 consecutive times in the regular season. Big difference, though, between October and January. November and January. December and January. The Kansas City Chiefs are still not fully formed. Isaiah Pacheco's still not on the field. Hollywood Brown's going to be there coming up in January. DeAndre Hopkins is still getting acclimated to this offense. And I sincerely doubt, and again, like, credit to Buffalo. Like, they played a great game. This is not to discredit the Bills, but I mean, can we be honest about something? Does anyone think that the Chiefs are going to put up a stinker like that defensively again the rest of the year? Yesterday, and this is per Kevin Patra of NFL.com, and I love the stat that he wrote about NFL.com about the game. The Chiefs defense had not allowed 28 or more points in a regular season game since week 4 of 2022 before yesterday. That's a 38-game streak. That is the second longest in the history of the National Football League, behind the 2005 to 2007 Patriots, who have the mark with 39. So, great job by the Bills. You racked up 30 on the Chiefs in November. I still don't believe that it would happen in January. So, honestly, as far as home field advantage goes, I hope the Bills get home field advantage. I hope it happens. I hope Kansas City gets the 2 seed or the 3 seed. Awesome. Give us, like last year entering the playoffs, give us a ridiculous price on the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. Because I'll tell you what, Buffalo ain't beating them in January, and there ain't no way that 2 of the other teams we saw play in the AFC yesterday is going to beat them in January either. We'll get to them in a second. I'm not a Chiefs fan. I'm just someone who thinks that they're more likely than a lot of people think to three-peat and to win the Super Bowl. To everyone who has been saying that the Chiefs have been getting lucky to win as many games as they did without a blemish, getting to 9-0, they did lose yesterday, and they are getting healthier. But look, I have to acknowledge this, Femi. I love the Chiefs this year. They have gotten lucky in some games. Now, some of that is just the quarterback's the best quarterback and they have the best head coach. So, some of it also is you block a field goal against the Denver Broncos when you should be losing the game. That's part of it also. So let's go to the Chiefs' schedule here for the rest of the season. You tell me how many L's you think they're going to take. At Carolina this weekend. Should be a win, right?
Yeah, it should be a win. Yep.
Okay, home Raiders.
That's a win.
Home, and how about this? In the interest of not making you pick a team to beat the Chiefs, let's say flag these as games they could lose. Chiefs hosting the Chargers.
Could definitely lose.
Okay, at the Browns.
I think they would win that one, but I mean, it's a game that they could lose theoretically.
I agree. I agree that they could lose the game.
Could lose.
Let's do it that they could lose. Okay, home Texans.
They could lose. I think they win, but they could lose.
Agreed. At the Steelers on Christmas Day.
They could definitely lose. I mean, that's a Tomlin spot if I ever heard one. They could lose that game.
So think about where the Chiefs are at right now in terms of home field in the AFC playoffs. They are half a game up on Buffalo. Buffalo holds the head-to-head tiebreaker. This is not going to be likely. It will not be that the Chiefs are running away with this here. Probably not for home field. And I give you that to give you this. Week 18 on the road in Denver against the Broncos.
They could lose that game. Although if I'm Denver, I was hoping that they would be resting. But if they have to play that game, that could have a lot of stakes attached to it with the Chiefs home field and Denver to make the playoffs.
So Femi is one of the sharpest guys that I know, one of the sharpest sports bettors that I know. So I'll ask you this question and see if you share my opinion. Do you think it's likely, not definite, but likely, that at some point moving forward the rest of this regular season, that you will get, I will get, we will get a better price to bet the Kansas City Chiefs to win the Super Bowl than plus 450 where it's at right now?
I'm going to say no. I want to say
really?
Yes because I want that opportunity. Here's why I'm going to say
we
no.
just went through and they could lose a bunch of these games, and then what happens?
what we could do that exercise with Buffalo is why I say no. Like the Buffalo Bills, their next few weeks, it's no cakewalk. Like
so let's bring
after the bye
schedule
week,
up just for fun. Yeah.
Like after the bye week, they host San Francisco, which like I'm down on the Niners, but like that's gonna be backs against the wall. Niners treating it like a playoff game, kitchen sink game. It's gonna be tricky. Like you could lose that game. Then after that, it's at the Rams. Like I guess I'm like high as hell on the Rams, like higher than everybody else. But like I think that's a game that they could lose. Then after that, it's at the Detroit Lions. They'll definitely be underdogs in that game. Like the next 3 weeks post bye week, like everyone's singing the praises of Buffalo, like Bills, like you know,
those
Josh Allen MVP.
You're conveniently leaving out the last 3 games of the season: home Patriots, home Jets, at Patriots.
Yeah, but they still have some ground to make up, though. Like they have 3 games after the bye week to where like they need to like win those games. At worst, go 2-1 if they're going to catch Kansas City. Like that's they're kind of behind the 8 ball. As good as yesterday was in getting that tiebreaker, they still need a little bit of help. And the Chiefs, like as much as they could lose those games, like a lot of these tough games, home against Texans, home against the Chargers, at Pittsburgh, definitely difficult, but at least they're getting those games at home versus at Detroit. Like Kansas City doesn't have anything as tough as at Detroit on their schedule, which that mean almost feels like a guaranteed loss the way the Lions are playing. So like I don't know if we're going to get it because I think that Buffalo's still going to stub their toe a couple more times, which will still allow Kansas City to get home field.
So if we want to talk about a team, and I want to have this conversation in the NFC also. I know, like you said, Houston, but I'm guessing, like, is that a price dependent thing for you, or do you actually think that Houston is the team? It's a price dependent thing.
100% price. 100% price.
Okay.
It's buying in on a team that could win their division and potentially has a high upside.
The AFC team, and I've said this earlier in the show, and I've said it for a couple weeks. I don't think the Bills in January can beat the Kansas City Chiefs. I think there's too many demons there. I trust Mahomes more than Allen. I trust Reed more than McDermott. And I think that Spags will get that defense playing better than it did. That's an uncharacteristically poor effort from the Chiefs defense yesterday. I don't think it's Buffalo. I don't think it's Baltimore as the Ravens fall on their face again. Lamar falls on his face in a big... I bet the Ravens in the game. Disaster for Baltimore. The Ravens, it's in their head with Lamar and the Ravens at this point now. I don't think it's Baltimore. I don't think it's Houston. I think it could be the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers are entering like a pretty difficult stretch of their schedule here. So next 3 games... Home Ravens next Monday night. The Ravens are 3-point favorites in that game. Now, not that the Chargers can't win or I won't bet them to win, but like they are underdogs in the game. The next week, they visit the Atlanta Falcons. And like, look, the Falcons have been terrible the last couple games, but the Falcons' upside is certainly to win that game. That is not a gimme for the Chargers, even if the Chargers are better. And then the Chargers go to Arrowhead to play the Kansas City Chiefs. It's possible that the Chargers lose 2 of the next 3 games. And I still think the Chargers, even if they lose 2 of the next 3, I still think that this is a playoff team. So it might be for me, Femi, wait for another 3 weeks and see if I can get a better price on the LA Chargers. Because I do think the Chargers' upside is to beat the Chiefs in January. And then like all bets are off at that point if Kansas City's out of the tournament. The new Super Bowl favorite at BetMGM. For the first time ever, not an exaggeration, for the first time in franchise history, your favorite to win the Super Bowl on Monday, November 18th, the 9-1 Detroit Lions. Detroit was never the favorite in 1991 when they went to the NFC Championship game and got destroyed by the eventual Super Bowl champion Washington Redskins. They weren't the Super Bowl favorite at any point last year when they went to the NFC Championship game and blew like a 600-point lead on the road in San Francisco, which cost me a lot of money. So they've never been the Super Bowl favorite, even in the seasons where they've gone deep into the playoffs. Not many in team history. Now, they are. And it's thanks in part to an epic 52-6 drubbing of the Jacksonville Jaguars yesterday in Motown. And yes, Jacksonville is a dead team walking. And yes, Doug Peterson is a dead coach walking, although maybe not. Like, what the hell's going on in Jacksonville? Ian Rappaport of NFL Media tweeted on Saturday and then again on Sunday morning. Basically, I will paraphrase. If the Jaguars get blown out in Detroit, Doug Peterson's getting fired and Trent Baalke, the clueless general manager, might get fired also. Well, this is like that, like the Candy Shack, like GIF, however you say it. We're waiting. It's currently a nice 6:09 p.m. Eastern on the East Coast. Doug Peterson is still employed by the Jacksonville Jaguars. How? Worst loss in franchise history. Season completely down the drain. How in God's name is Doug Peterson still employed as the head coach? But look, that's a story for another day and another time. Right now, we're talking about the Detroit Lions, who scored 52 points, who absolutely laid it on the Jaguars. Now, to anyone who wants to say, well, they beat Jacksonville, who cares? This is what good teams are supposed to do. This is what great teams are supposed to do. You're supposed to annihilate bad competition. Like, the Lions don't play a team like Jacksonville and let them hang around. I thought it was so adorable. I thought it was really cute. I'm going to use that word. I thought it was cute when the Jaguars, on their first possession, the opening possession of the game, kick a 59-yard field goal to make it 3-0. I thought that was adorable from the Jaguars. In all seriousness, there are teams in the NFL as big favorites in those spots where, like, the underdog goes down and kicks a field goal, makes it 3-0, and you're like, is this about to go sideways for the favorite? Did anyone feel like that for 1 second with the Lions and the Jaguars? Because I bet Detroit, and I didn't. The offense is obviously ridiculous. The Jared Goff is the trigger man. Unstoppable in yesterday's game. Over an 80% completion percentage again in a game for Jared Goff. Amon-Ra St. Brown looks like it was 7-on-7. Can't cover Amon-Ra St. Brown. Jamison Williams got his, over 100 yards and had a long touchdown reception. Both David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs scored touchdowns. Montgomery scored twice. Gibbs scored once. Everyone got in on the fun for the Detroit Lions, except Sam Laporta because he didn't play in the game. We know the offense is great. Maybe Ben Johnson was auditioning to be the next head coach of the team that they beat down yesterday, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm so impressed, though, with this Lions defense and the way the Lions defense has played since losing Aiden Hutchinson in that blowout win in Dallas. Feels like that was so long ago. The Lions defense hasn't folded since losing Aiden Hutchinson. In fact, I think the Lions defense has been pretty good. So today, on this Monday, November 18th, I can say beyond a shadow of a doubt that the Detroit Lions deserve to be the sole favorite to win Super Bowl 59. But when it comes down to it, I don't think I would ever pick or bet the Lions to win the Super Bowl if and when they got there. I still have big-time questions about Jared Goff in a big spot. Like, what happens when you get down to bleep cutting time and the Lions are actually up against it a little bit, and Jared Goff has to make a big play against a big-time defense, against a big-time quarterback? I'm not saying he can't do it for sure. I'm saying if it's Goff against the Bills and Josh Allen, if it's Goff against the Ravens and Lamar Jackson, if it's Goff against the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, no way am I taking Detroit to win any of those games. So yeah, like, Detroit should be the favorite to win the Super Bowl. Do I think the Lions will win it? Would I bet the Lions to win it? Not with your money. I'm not even convinced the Lions are going to win the NFC North. They're one game up on Minnesota. They still have to play head-to-head one more time, albeit in Detroit. Detroit's minus 600 to win the NFC North. They're one game up. Does anyone think that price is too big? The Colts will host Detroit this weekend. The Colts have crazy upside moving forward with Anthony Richardson. I'm not saying they'll reach it, but would it really shock anyone if the Colts won this game? Seriously. The Lions are big favorites. They're projected to win the game by a lot. I think the Colts are live in the game. I do. I don't think the Lions are locked to win their own division. I think they're the most likely team to win it. Should they be minus 600? I think we should probably talk about that at some point this week. I think that's an interesting price for the Lions to be laying. To win a division, they're up by one game.